Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the WTF1 podcast. Katie's already laughing, and we are here to turn our attentions now fully and 100% to the 2022 season and looking forward to it. And we're going to basically go through each of our sort of hopes and dreams and what we're really looking forward to from this new regulation season. And of course, Tommy, the WTF1 founder and resident Max Verstappen fanboy, is here once again. And alongside, of course, is Katie Fairman, the WTF1 author, and has a lovely plant to her left that you can't even see. So I don't know why I've just mentioned that, because it's cropped in a way that you can't even see the plant. So both of you, how are you? This isn't our first podcast of 22. You thought it was, Tommy, coming into this. It's our second one, but our first looking forward to the season.
How dare we? How dare we not keep talking about 2021?
I'm over talking about 21 now, I think.
Yeah,
I think everyone is. Actually, no, we will probably talk about 21 when the FIA finally release their investigation into themselves as to why it all went wrong. I'm looking forward to that. Katie, what are you looking forward to? Actually, no, we're going to find that out. But how was your Christmas and New Year? Good, huh?
Oh, yeah, Christmas and New Year was good. Just chilling out, really. Not doing much work and trying to recover.
Now, that's interesting that you say that, because you are a workaholic, and you said before that even when you have time off, you like to do a bit of work. Did you actually do no work?
No comment.
Yeah, chilled out. I only did 5 hours a day. You're just there at the Christmas dinner table with your laptop. It's lovely. Brilliant stuff. Anyway, back to the podcast at hand. But before we do, we've actually been nominated for the Best Motorsport Podcast at the Sports Podcast Awards, which is very exciting indeed. So please go to the website, link in the description, and vote for us. It would mean a lot. But don't all go at the same time, because the website keeps crashing, because we keep sending too many people over there to vote. But
persevere, please. Yeah, like add it to your favorites and then just keep checking every day until it works.
Exactly. That should be part of your daily routine. As soon as the alarm goes off, you should be trying to vote for us. Anyway, right, Tommy, let's start with your thing that you're most looking forward to in the new era of Formula One. Mine is, hopefully, a closer field. I feel like we should have had a 3-word looking forward to review. It feels weird for you to say mine is and then say 4 words.
Yeah, it does actually.
Just get rid of the A.
Hopefully closer field. Yeah, while 2021 was obviously epic and we had this amazing title fight, it was still 2 teams very far ahead of the pack. Like, let's be honest, even a track like Hungary, where it's difficult to overtake, and Hamilton dropping to last, he still almost won that race on a track you can't really overtake. So like the performance gap, you could argue that it's been this way since the whole hybrid era. That, you know, I don't want to see the gap between 4th and 5th, like 50 seconds anymore. You know, even if it's still Mercedes at the front and like Red Bull and there and whatever, just, I don't want that gap. Like, and hopefully the way the new rules are written, I think we're going to do a video about it eventually, but
of course we are. Of
course we are. You know, they're trying to keep it as close as possible all the time. And that's what I hope the most, is that we get, like, you know, closer battle. The teams we don't have this massive field spread, which unfortunately, while we were treated to an amazing season, the field spread has been ridiculous for a very long time. And it shows that even just having one other team in the title fight, we're like, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. Yeah. It shows how like starved of it we've been. So yeah, let's hope that happens, because it seems like it should be.
Yeah, I'll accept no less than 8 teams fighting for the championship by the final race, nothing less. But yeah, I think our hopes are certainly up for it being a closer field. Of course, you know, the whole reason for the regulation overhaul was, you know, making closer racing, but also to kind of wipe the slate clean a little bit, because it has been very much a Mercedes-dominated era. Of course, Red Bull won the Drivers' Championship, which Tommy is very happy about last year. And but apart from that, you know, it hasn't been close, as you say. So I'm looking forward to a McLaren, a Ferrari getting involved in the mix. I mean, Ferrari, we'll talk about that very shortly, but more, I'm fine if that's the 50-second gap if Ferrari are the ones out in front. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. We don't know. Obviously, on paper, it looks as though it will be closer for many reasons. But the one thing we have said over the course of the 21 season is like, imagine we have these new regulations after the closest title fight we've had in a very long time. And then one team gets it right and they are a second and a half clear, something like that. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could. So we will see. There's 3 days of private testing coming up in Barcelona, and then we will have, I say coming up, it's still January, Matt, chill out. But and then we'll have 3 days in Bahrain as well. But I'm hopeful that it will spice up the field. And my spicy take from this whole thing is that Mercedes won't be the front running car.
Ooh, okay, that's interesting.
But it kind of links in with my prediction anyway, so carry on.
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah. Yeah, well, like you say, with Mercedes, pretty much since the hybrid era, we've tuned into a race and been like, well, Hamilton, or it might be Rosberg, because let's be honest, it probably wasn't going to be Valtteri Bottas, was going to win the race, and that was that. And, it became very predictable. Red Bull did change that up last year, but I'm with Tommy. I'm really hoping that because it's kind of new, clean slate, new regulations, teams have had the same amount of time to sort of get prepped for it, that they will all start nice and level and it will make it more exciting. And George Russell said he thinks there'll be 5 teams that are going to be fighting for the championship, which would obviously be amazing. Like Tommy said, we were happy with 2 last year. But the reality is that some teams might have more money to, put towards resources, or other teams might have more air tunnel time and all that kind of stuff. Wind tunnel time, not air tunnel. And it could well be that we get to Bahrain and one team does sort of run away with it. But I really hope that the pack does close up with these new regs.
Yeah, you make a good point. Obviously, as much as it may well seem like it's a level playing field, there is extra wind tunnel time for the likes of Ferrari, who obviously strategically placed very low on was it the 2019? 2020 standings?
When they sabotaged Vettel's car, clearly, and just...
Yeah, absolutely. But where the constructors teams finished, it depended. So Haas, for example, would have got the most wind tunnel time. So Haas champions for 22 is basically what we're saying here. But that there's also the talk that although the cost cap has come in and 145 million and all that's been reduced, isn't it, every year slightly? The teams may have put in some money before that even was brought in. So they've kind of piled in as much as possible into the research and stuff into it as well. So we will see. I'm still expecting the big teams to be at the top, but look, it's all a lottery at the moment. Katie, whilst you were speaking, why don't we go with yours? Have you made it into a 3-word thing? 3-word looking forward to review?
Revisiting familiar tracks.
There you go. Boom. You've added familiar. Nice.
I'm here all week. So despite the fact that we've got all new regulations and there's loads of new and exciting things happening this year, I've decided to go for a bit of nostalgia because obviously with the pandemic, we haven't raced at some of my favorite racetracks for a long, long time. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Australia is going to be back on the calendar, Canada, Singapore, Japan, all circuits that I really, really enjoy. I know, Matt, you're a big fan of the Chinese Grand Prix. That will be back next year. But yeah, I've just really missed having them on the calendar, and I'm looking forward to going back there. Although I did enjoy the thrill and excitement that with the pandemic, we raced at Mugello and we had to race at certain areas like Qatar, and we went to Imola for the first time in, a decade. And the excitement that came with that of, racing somewhere completely brand new for these cars, I have missed having some of the old tracks back. So, this year will be the last time we race in Sochi, because we're going to be going to St. Petersburg from next year, which I'm going to still stand by the opinion that last year's Russian Grand Prix was an anomaly. It was a one-off, and I think it's probably going to be very boring again this year. So adios, bye-bye. And we've got Miami this year, which is new, which I'm excited for, but I'm also worried that too much hype is just going to set the expectations like sky high, and they're just going to come crumbling down when we finally get there and realize that actually it's quite a just standard boring track. But I'm happy to be excited until that point. So yeah.
I think I'm probably of the opposing opinion in terms of I actually quite enjoyed the random tracks that were just like, hey, I'll host. Because it kind of gave us a bit of a fresh sort of feel into some tracks where we didn't know who was going to be quick. I think we'll be very lucky to go to Australia in April, isn't it? So I think that will, if that happens, then it'll be a bit of a miracle in my opinion. But yeah, I haven't really missed the Singapores. China, definitely. Singapore, maybe not so much as a race. I think the spectacle's cool and it's a night race and whatnot, but we have other night races being added to the calendar anyway. So I felt like that slot was kind of filled. So yeah, we'll see. You know, I think that the calendar that we see now will not be the calendar we get. There are going to be cancellations, I think. So it's just, you know, an ever-changing game, this whole calendar and what they can and can't do. So but no, I like it when, you know, a Turkey that's not going to be there, Portimao's not going to be on the calendar at the moment, but certainly will probably be substitutions if one track drops off. So yeah, I'm sad not to see the Portimao's and Turkeys, and I'd gladly have that over maybe Australia and Singapore.
I really like Singapore, and I'm disappointed. I'm looking forward to seeing that back, but I am sort of the same opinion of you, where I think the reason I want it back is because we've missed it. And I like that calendar rotation that we've not had, that it's been novel. Unfortunately, obviously, it's a very extreme reason why we've had that, and I don't want that. But in terms of like the Formula One, the way that the tracks have happened, you know, we had that conversation with Mugello of like how good it is that it's mixed up. But yeah, there are some tracks in there that I've really missed. Singapore for me being the main one. I know it very much divides people, where some people don't think it's particularly great. I quite like how different it is to other races, and it always goes on for hours with very little overtaking, like Monaco. So I love it. No,
yeah, shock.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see as well the new cars on these tracks that a lot of people thought the maybe old school tracks have not been suited to these cars, and unfortunately they're still quite wide, very heavy, and already a bit of damning news is I've read that Nico Hülkenberg's been in the simulator and said that he doesn't think that the cars will be able to overtake any easier, so that's fun. But it'll be interesting to see.
That? Has he been racing other simulator people?
I guess so. Yeah. From the aerodynamic tests and stuff, he says that following cars isn't not going to be anywhere near as good as we think. And I think I'm right in saying when we spoke to Jack at our Team WTF1 event, he also said something similar. And I think a lot of people are of the same opinion that whatever they do, F1 teams will find a way to make it boring. But no, hopefully, as long as it's better, and it'd be interesting to see what they can do on the likes of, you know, Suzuka that we've not seen in a while, and it'd be nice to see Suzuka back, even if it's just for the incredible fans and stuff. But yeah, for me, I think I'm more excited for them to be back because they've not been in there, and I like the rotation rather than the fact that they're like my favorite tracks in the world and I want them back. So that's my take. Really
concise. Love that. I feel like you went from both sides of the argument pretty well there.
Well, I kind of am, because I agree with Katie that there are those tracks that I've missed, like Singapore, but equally I agree with you that I think the reason that I'm happy to have them back is because it's like it's changing every year, and I like that we've had a mix in calendar each year. Obviously I don't want the reason for it to be happen, but I'd like it if they did. We've had this discussion before of that they do say let's rotate tracks a bit more anyway, because it's a bit more fun.
Yeah, because they came out, didn't they? Formula One, was it Stefano Domenicali said that we could have a 30 race calendar if we wanted to, which I think then kind of suggests not to have 30 races, but also that the rotation is possible.
Enough circuits that want to host stuff. So
yeah, so although some circuits are hosting signing 10-year deals, so there won't be much rotation with those ones. But yeah, fingers crossed. So moving on now to
here we go.
My 3-word looking forward to review. And I'm looking forward to my prediction coming true of Charles Leclerc becoming world champion, Charles Leclerc champion. So like, I'm just going full 2022 Ferrari hype train right now. I feel like
train.
Full jinx train, but I feel like if I fight it hard enough, the jinx won't come true, and I will, what's the word? I will
Be deluded?
No, that's not what I was after. Wow, Katie, that was really mean. But I will manifest it into reality. So I just believe. I think that Ferrari, they've had enough time now where they're not been at the front, but they've been taking steps forward, and they finished third in the constructors last year. And I think they're in a good spot. You know, this whole wind tunnel thing, I read somewhere that they think it will be worth like less than half a tenth, their extra wind tunnel time. But hey, look, it might be half a tenth all they need. So I've just got good vibes. I've got a good feeling that Ferrari will make a resurgence, and I am absolutely here for it. And if that is the case, look forward and subscribe to me fanboying for the entire season.
Yeah, I don't think I'm on quite the Ferrari hype train that you are, but
of course you're not. I wonder why.
I think if no, but I think if any team in the midfield, I guess you could say, like, for me, I can see Ferrari. This could age really badly, but I feel like Ferrari, I can see them fighting at the front again more than McLaren, for example. In my head, obviously, this is all we're just guessing, aren't we?
Speculating. Really? I love how you like this could age really badly. There's me like Charles Leclerc will be world champion. Yeah. Like you saying this is not going to be as bad.
Yeah, true. But in my head, I don't agree with you that Mercedes will be bad. In my head, that Mercedes, the fact that they pushed Red Bull that close in a year where I know they didn't give up. They clearly didn't give up because the car was amazing at the end. But in a year where they said, "Oh, we're really focusing on 2022," and to be that good, it's like, oh, that's quite concerning how good they were at the end of the year.
Well, they may just say that might be bluffing.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know. And
I just think they're going to be third fastest. I don't think they're going to be the fastest.
I'd like it. I would like to see them up there because I think Leclerc and Sainz are two of the best drivers in F1. I've said this many times, but I think Charles Leclerc has got to the point for some bizarre reason that he's become like this criminally underrated driver now, where just because he finished 5 points behind his teammate, everyone's like, oh, he's a fraud and he's terrible and stuff. And it's like,
I wonder where you got those statements from and why was it Twitter?
Yeah. But the thing is, like, if Ferrari deliver a car again that's good, yeah, I think Leclerc will be the one that would be able to challenge the title. And I'm here for it because the more the merrier. Let's have a 2010 situation where there's like 4 different teams that can win with multiple drivers from different teams that can win the title. That would be the dream, wouldn't it? So fingers crossed.
One thing I am actually looking forward to, sorry, before you get in, Katie, is that Leclerc's had a couple of seasons now where he's not had it's not been a front running car. Of course, 2019 was great to watch, and he did have some amazing moments, but he also does make mistakes. So now that he's had a couple more years to bed in, especially at Ferrari, 22, if he does have a good car, there won't really be that excuse that if he does make the mistakes and crashes at Baku or whatever, or in Monaco qualifying, if he wants to win a world championship, he has to get rid of those little errors. And I feel like maybe mentally he's needed to work on that a little bit, because he's obviously, we've heard team radios where he's been quite hard on himself. And I think that sort of self-deprecating way of dealing with things is probably not the best way of doing it. So, 22 will be an interesting one if they do have a good car.
Yeah, I think we saw them with the new Ferrari power unit towards the end of last year, and it looks a very strong package that they've got there. So it is going to be interesting to see how they get. What are you laughing at? Strong package?
Tommy literally just me and Tommy literally just took a drink of exactly the same coloured drink at the same time. I just looked up and I was like, wait.
You're both in your WTF1 hoodies as well. You're twins.
We are the same person.
Oh, that's cute.
Where's your cape?
I'll get a Leclerc cape. I'll open a PO box and someone can send me it. Sorry, Katie, carry on.
No, that's all right. I was just going to say that I don't think Ferrari's going to have quite the year that maybe you're expecting, Matt. Like I said, this is all predictions and, suggestions and stuff, but I just feel that it would be too much of a step forward for them coming off the back of 2021. Yes, it was a stronger year than they had in 2020, where they finished 6th in the Constructors' Championship, which was like their worst result in 40 years. But I feel like maybe they need a few more little building blocks to get to a position where they can be at the front fighting with Mercedes, Red Bull, if they continue to be as strong as we've seen. But hopefully it's all going in the right direction for maybe 23, 24, when maybe Ferrari can be that winning team again, like we saw a few years ago. But I feel like it's too much of a jump to ask them. I know we've got new regs and everything, but to give Leclerc a championship, basically.
I respect your opinion, but I disagree.
The dream is the new regs. The dream is the new regs actually regs. Like switch it up, because if you look at like 2016 to 2017, I know Ferrari then could sort of almost challenge for a title, but there wasn't really that massive change when, the cars looked dramatically different, but it was still Mercedes were the best car and it didn't change that much. So I think everyone's even, I think a lot of fans are more neutrals than they are supporting of drivers at the end of the day. And I think everyone will have their fingers crossed that it kind of shuffles the pack a bit, because that's what people want to see. You want it closer, and you want different teams at the front rather than just Mercedes and one other team, be that Ferrari or Red Bull. Here's hoping.
At the end of the day, I just want close racing. If Charles Leclerc and Ferrari are ninth, then, I'll have my sorrow for a few races. But then, I just want that close fight at the front. We want that drama, and we want that amazing title fight that we saw this year. Right, let's move on to Team WTF1 Evan, or Team WTF1 member, whose name is Evan, is excited to see Russell in a Mercedes. So am I. I keep forgetting it's real, although Mercedes have been tweeting recently of... in all honesty, I'm a massive fan of this. And it's a picture of him in the team gear and whatnot. Of course, the whole chat at the moment is Mercedes and, who is going to partner Russell if Hamilton decides to just hang up his gloves and his helmet and his racing boots, and his suit. And just go on from that, really.
Underwear, yeah.
Wait, why would he hang up his underwear?
Like the racing underwear that they have underneath. Not just like his Calvin Klein.
It's my boxes, everything. It'll be really cool to see how Russell is, especially if Mercedes are good. Especially how he'll stack up against Hamilton. It is a clean slate for both of them, and Russell was in a great opportunity. It has a great opportunity to fight with Lewis Hamilton, especially with it being a new car. But I mean, Lewis has always proved that he is great in any car that's given to him because of the way he's won in every single different era of Formula One car. So I wouldn't write him off, but. What kind of Lewis Hamilton are we going to see next year? Are we going to see a motivated one that wants to, get his 8th world title after everything that happened in Abu Dhabi, or what? We don't know, because it can affect people in different ways. So, I'm very excited to see how George Russell gets on, because it's the opportunity that I think he's now fully deserved.
Yeah, it's going to be so exciting, because it's not really a dynamic we've seen with Lewis Hamilton with a younger teammate, especially somebody as young as this. Obviously with Rosberg, they grew up together, so he kind of knew Nico inside out, knew the kind of mind games he would play, the kind of race that he was. Same with Valtteri, that's somebody who he's been familiar with, before F1 and all that kind of stuff, and obviously Alonso and all this kind of thing. But this dynamic is going to be so interesting, because obviously Hamilton is a 7-time champion. He's so experienced, often hailed as one of the greatest of all time. And then you've got George Russell, who's come in, who showed exceptional promise when he was at Williams. He's known as Mr. Saturday, and he's managed to haul that car to places that it shouldn't have been last year. And he's 23. He's got that fire in his belly. Not saying that Lewis doesn't have that, but, maybe being a younger driver, he's just making sure he makes the most of every single opportunity that's thrown his way. And I think that if that combination clashes, then we're going to see some pretty big fireworks at Mercedes again this year, because as much as I like Valtteri, he was a great second driver. On several occasions, it was a case where he kind of, although, he'll sit there and drive to survive and be like, I'm here to win championships. If Mercedes said jump, Valtteri would just say how high, and kind of just follow all of those rules and sort of roll over and just, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like Valtteri was quite easy to just say,
obedient.
Okay, fine. Yeah, he was. And I'm sure George isn't exactly going to waltz into Mercedes and just try and piss off everyone he meets straight away. He's going to be playing the team game for a bit, but there's still something that tells me he's going to make sure that his presence is known in that team. And he knows if he plays his cards right, he is a future of that team, and what a team to be, the head guy of in a couple of years.
It's a difficult weighing up. Sorry, Tommy. It's a difficult weighing up thing for George, where on one hand, of course, he's just joined Mercedes, won 8 constructors titles in a row and things like that. And on one side, he doesn't want to ruffle the feathers and, annoy them and think, we've picked the wrong guy. But at the same time, he's a competitor, and he knows that if he beats Lewis Hamilton in the 2022 season, his legacy within the sport will probably start there. People are like, George won't be if that. You don't know. Like, George could easily be in Formula One for 10, 15 years, win several titles, but it will start where it goes, do you remember 22 when he beat Hamilton in Mercedes? So that's going to be playing in his head a little bit, I'm sure. You're only human, but George is also very composed. Maybe not Imola, but composed usually. At least with most of the time with the media, at least.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's tough. It's a tough one how he plays it, because there'll be something in his head that's like, well, as soon as Hamilton retires, I'm the number one driver in the top team. But equally, he might be like, well, in 2-3 years when Hamilton retires, Mercedes might not be the best team anymore or whatever. So, you kind of want to make the most of it when you're in the best car. It's a strange one with Russell, because the way I think it's probably unfair to say he fell off at the end of last year, but he was definitely more anonymous than the mid-season hype of him, obviously getting that P2 in qualifying and the race that wasn't a race. And was he P3, I think, in Russia as well? So yeah, had like these amazing performances and got some points finishes. You kind of forget that the whole narrative in 2020 was us just constantly being like, please, Mercedes, put someone in the car alongside Hamilton that can challenge, even if it's not, I think personally, I don't see Russell beating Hamilton. I think he will struggle against him in the races, but equally, if we were doing this podcast in 2007, I'm sure a lot of people would have been like, oh, well, Hamilton's not going to beat Alonso, and look what happened. So you're right, Matt. Like, it's never, you can't disregard the fact that could genuinely happen. But at the end of the day, he's going to be, you'd like to think, a lot more of a challenge to Hamilton than Bottas. And that's the most interesting thing, that even if Mercedes do nail the regulations, they've had all this time to prep. And even if they are, hopefully not, please don't be. But back to like 2014, 2016, where they're half a second every lap up the road, then please, at least let's hope that there's a battle between the two of them, because that's what we want to see at the end of the day. Like, it'd be amazing to see Russell do that, not just sit there for 2 years and be like, I'll play the team game until I get my turn. Like,
I doubt that's going to happen. I doubt that's going to happen, because at the end of the day, if Russell was quicker,
and when he's in the car, it's a completely different story. We say similar to Hamilton and Alonso. You got to think, really, Sebastian Vettel and Leclerc as well. It was a very similar situation. I don't think anyone would have thought that Leclerc would, in 2 races, be, making the question of, was it Bahrain, wasn't it, where Vettel actually, he passed Vettel and had so much more pace, and Ferrari didn't know what to do, because they've had this whole thing in place where Vettel was the number 1 driver for ages. We could see another situation like that. So yeah, I think Russell is definitely one of the most exciting things for 2022. Definitely.
Oh, George isn't a thing; he's a person, Tommy. Next up, Coet Gill 5, number 1 on Verstappen's car. I'm sure there's one person in particular in this podcast that's looking forward to that the most. But it's cool to see the number 1 back in Formula One. It kind of reminds me of Schumi days, because that's what Schumi run. So not many comments for me on that one, apart from, it'll be cool to have it back, and Max will flaunt it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'd be the first time since 2014, which was the first year we had personal numbers, and Vettel took it. But obviously, every year Hamilton's won the title apart from Rosberg, and he retired. So we didn't get to see, we're not seeing the number 1 in Formula One for ages. But for me, I guess we could talk about like how we think Red Bull will do. I'm slightly concerned that they put so much effort into the end of 2021 that maybe they'll struggle again. It's all just speculation. But if I think back to 2013, when you had Vettel, he won 9 races in a row, absolutely walked the title, and he had that whole radio message of like, we need to remember these days because we don't know if it's going to happen again. And then the next year, Red Bull really struggled, and it was like, and I think at the end of 2013, they were so dominant that people would be like, oh no, Red Bull won't fall off, no chance. I'm slightly concerned that they might take a bit of, like, they might have been left behind. Who knows? But I think for me, where Max will, where he can enjoy something is the fact that he normally scores maximum points for the team. So even if the car isn't on the same level as maybe say Ferrari, it comes true, Matt, and Ferrari are good and Mercedes are good. You've got to think that Russell, even if he doesn't beat Hamilton, will take points off Hamilton occasionally. And equally, Leclerc and Sainz might do the same, whereas Max normally, on the basis of this year, will be the one that's always scoring the maximum points. And that's going to help him. And that's going to be quite an interesting narrative to see if, say, he has an inferior car, if Mercedes then go, oh, actually, this wasn't a good idea, because we said it, didn't we, that and I'm not afraid to admit that I thought there's absolutely no way they're going to put Russell in the car, because there'll be occasional points where I take off Hamilton. Imagine if Russell was in the car this year. I think maybe, Max would have won the title before, because it was always about Max getting the maximum points and Lewis getting the maximum points. And that's why they were so close all the time. So, I think that's going to be interesting to see. Although I did read something that Perez said that he now no longer wants to be a wingman and he's going for the title, but I can't see that personally. No offense to Checo.
You do that, Han. Well, I mean, it's cool that the number one's on there. I'm sure Max is going to absolutely milk it with merchandise and stuff like that, but fair play, because I would do the same.
Tommy will be the one buying it all.
Yeah, literally. You got to get that cash money when you can, But yeah, apart from the fact that it will visually look quite cool, and I guess lets people new to the sport maybe know that they're world champion, but is that really a thing that people tune in and recognize? I don't know. It's not really going to be a highlight of my 2022 season, I'll be honest, but I'm sure for a Verstappen fan, Tommy,
Loving
it's great. Yeah.
What about you, Frank? What do you make of Max having number one on his car? Yeah. Oh, perfect. Good chat. Right. So next up, Team WTF1 member Devin is looking forward to a new United States Grand Prix. Miami gonna be lit, I think, is pretty much the thoughts on that. I think from what it looks like, the prices are absolutely extortionate to go to Miami. So like it's over $1,000 I've heard. So that's quite a lot of money. But looking forward to Miami. I'm sure there'll be a lot of US-ifying of Miami, and they will go full guns blazing and try and just make it as big a show as possible. So I'm looking forward to it. I think Miami will be a really cool spectacle, and bring it on.
It's going to be exciting. I mean, like Miami as a venue, most people have heard of it. If you were to say, oh, we're going to Hockenheim, people would be like, what? Huh? What? Whereas everyone knows where Miami is. Everyone knows the Will Smith song. And
if they don't get Will Smith there, it's an absolute disaster of a marketing strategy.
Yeah, that is just going to be disastrous if they don't get him. Like at least waving the flag or like on the grid or something like that. Maybe he can sing the national anthem.
Every traditional F1 fan is just fuming at Katie Nav saying, no one's heard of Hockenheim, but everyone's heard of Miami because of the Will Smith song.
But I mean, like a casual person. Yes. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just a little worried that there's going to be so much hype and excitement around it that the race is going to be rubbish. But hey, that hasn't stopped Monaco from being the jewel of the crown. So maybe...
And that's amazing.
Maybe Miami will be up there with the likes of Monaco in terms of people knowing that it's happening and recognizing F1. Don't know, but it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I want to go, but like you say, tickets are crazy expensive. and I think they've already sold out and all this kind of stuff. So maybe one day.
That's all right. You're the WTF1 author. All you have to do is a little DM or something, I'm sure.
Hi guys, go and give me a
It's
ticket.
going to be
Daniel.
It's going to be one of those races where, like people. It's going to be one of those races where everyone sat at home is going to be like, "Oh, I'd love to be there." But again, like Katie mentioned earlier, will that hype just we have like a really dull race and it's not particularly exciting? Because I don't know. Looking at the track, I'm disappointed that they never went with that crazy layout that they first did. Do you remember the one where that went all the way along that bridge and then looped back at itself?
That was a disaster
ridiculous.
waiting to happen.
I know.
It?
It was basically like Baku times 10. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I always like seeing new tracks, like we said, like having the calendar mixed up and stuff. Yeah, it should be good.
Next up, Luber Leave. Lewis's revenge championship win when he wins the championship with 4 races to go. Wow.
I thought you were confident with the Leclerc prediction.
Yeah, I mean, that's manifesting a kind of championship I don't think anyone wants to see, which is a runaway winner. That could be one side of Lewis Hamilton that I mentioned earlier that we will see if he does fully commit to next season, which we don't still know. And I know Sky in particular are pushing the storyline of, the longer it goes on, the longer, Lewis may not come back. And I'm just there like, but he's on his winter break. Like, and he signs contracts with like 2 hours to go before the race these days. So not literally 2 hours, but you know what I mean? He does leave it quite late. So I'm sure he's just chilling at the moment. But I think we will see a very motivated Lewis once he decides to come back. But there are questions up in the air.
Yeah, I think Hamilton's going to... Frank's popped in his head up. I think for me, Lewis is the favourite going into the title, even with the new regs and stuff. And I think he will be. I think he will be completely motivated to win that title, and I can't for 1 second see him retiring. So I know you're
absolutely
going
loving a prediction in this thing. You're just like, I can't see it. Lewis is the favourite. Mercedes is going to win by 100 points.
Well, I don't think they'll win 4 races to go. I really hope not.
I know what you're doing, Tommy. I know what you're up to.
What, jinxing?
You're doing that thing. No, you're doing that thing. I
do genuinely think that Hamilton will be the favourite, and the fact that he's going to come back and be more determined. I don't believe for a second that he's just because he's not posting on social media that suddenly he's like, oh, he doesn't like F1 anymore. Stuff. He unfollowed F1 on Instagram. Must mean that he's definitely retiring.
Oh, yes.
No.
I mean, he unfollowed everyone. So.
Yeah, exactly. Even Roscoe.
He unfollowed
Roscoe.
everyone. Oh, wow. That must mean something.
You know you're hurt when you unfollow your own dog on Instagram.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, actually, do you remember last year, completely unrelated, when Lewis Hamilton accidentally tagged George Russell instead of Roscoe?
In the dog picture, yeah.
How does that happen?
Amazing.
Yeah,
you just letting him know. He letting him know where he's going to be.
That was for the
memes.
team.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was my highlight of 2021, actually. That was really funny.
Of everything. That is
everything that happened that season. Yeah.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like having this as a bold prediction, isn't it? Because I mean, that's literally what happened every year, apart from last year, with Hamilton taking the championship in Austin or wherever it might have been. So yeah, I think he'll come back. I don't think, he's the guy's just taken some time off social media. He's just having a social media detox, which can be such a healthy thing to do. I'm sure behind the scenes, he's not exactly going to be like stuffing his face, eating all his Christmas chocolates, watching series on Netflix, putting on Gavin and Stacey or something. I'm sure he's working hard. But everyone's like, oh my God, he's not done a post, he's going to quit. But I mean, ready for this to age badly, but he's probably just getting his mental health, physical health ready to absolutely wipe everyone clean in 2022.
Wipe everyone clean.
That was a poor choice of words.
Oh, you're quite dirty. Let me wipe you clean. Here we go.
COVID spray.
Right. Next up, Team WTF1 member Alessandro. I really hope that all those teams that focus on the 22 cars see their efforts pay off. Specifically, having Haas back in the midfield and Aston Martin fighting for podiums. I mean, Haas have absolutely no excuse. They didn't turn up last year. They literally put out an F2 car for the entirety of that season, focusing on the new regulations. So you'd have to think that Haas are going to be somewhere further forward than where they were last year. So, we'll see. I want to see Mick Schumacher, especially, showing what he can do, because we can't really see that when he's 3 laps down and only fighting his teammate. So, yeah, I want to see what Mick Schumacher's made of. We saw a little bit of that in Hungary, where he was a bit up the field after that chaotic start, and he was fighting hard to try and maintain position. So I want to see more of that. And Aston Martin fighting for podiums, I don't know, not sure about that one.
No, I think Haas have to improve, because it makes me wonder how long Gene Haas will be happy putting his name to that team if they don't, because they've just become kind of the laughing stock of the grid, really. So I would be interested to see how they get on this year. But I mean, this is the thing. Everyone is hoping to improve, which comes with new regs and hoping to seize that opportunity. But there's still going to be 10 places on that Constructors' Championship. There's still, Frank is having a look, and there's still going to be somebody that has to finish last, that has to finish 9th. And, if everybody says we're going to come in this year and we're going to do better than we did last year and hopefully move ourselves up that field, then it's not going to work, because it would just be the same order if everybody's going to make that improvement. So I don't know. Günther Steiner said that, Haas would struggle to catch up without the new rules, but whether Haas are going to be midfield team, I personally can't see it. They just don't have the money. They don't have the resources. Putting 2 rookies in that car in 2021, I still think was a silly mistake, because how are you going to expect to get that kind of knowledge and understanding of the car that somebody with years of experience in that other seat would have? I don't know. As much as I love Günther, and he delivers on like the funny Drive to Survive memes, like at the end of the day, I don't know why he's still there, which I know is a bit brutal, but like there's just no change. If this was, I don't know, I'm trying to think of another team that's an example of, but they
Ferrari.
should not just be, they should not just be struggling.
If it's at Ferrari, 100%.
But whether they keep him on because he's comical, and I know he's got loads of experience.
They get 3 episodes of Drive to Survive
well,
every
exactly.
year
This
dedicated
is
to
the
them.
thing. And people then know who they are, like in the States and all this kind of stuff. But I just think he's not quite the right person to be running that team. But I'm sure they'll keep him on, because I can't actually say it because that's actually rude, because it's from Drive to Survive, but he bleep smashed the door and I just ruined my laptop. What a chaotic segment.
You guys obviously got into the Haas part. I think even more so, like Aston Martin are the ones that have no excuse, because the absolute hype train that they were on at the start of this season, and they were, for me, easily the most underperforming team of what we expected. With all the budget and how Lawrence Stroll's bigging everything up, like they need to be up there next year. But like Katie said, all these teams like Ferrari are going to be really good, McLaren are going to be really good, Alpine are going to be really good, Haas have taken you off, they're going to be really good. There's only one winner of the championship, and equally, that you could improve quite a lot, but if 5 other teams improve more, then you're finishing pretty low down in the championship. So it is going to be really interesting to see all these teams. I always think back, I know it's a bit of a boomer reference, which I can't believe I'm saying is a boomer reference when it's like 2008, but when BMW Sauber sacked off the championship with Kubica to focus on 2009 and the car was dreadful. I think people like Aston Martin are really going to have to hope that there's not a repeat of that. And I'd even say Alpine as well, with the whole they literally put L Plan on their rear wing, and they're hyping that so much of we're going to be really good next year. This is what we've been working towards. So now's the time to actually deliver that.
Is L Plan actually a thing? Is it a sponsor? Is it literally just a phrase?
It's just a phrase.
Okay. So I feel like they didn't have a rear wing sponsor. They were like, you know what, let's meme it. Let's put L Plan on there instead.
Yeah.
But either way, let's actually beautifully segue into the next one from Thies van der Tween.
Thijs.
I'm sorry. Is it thighs? Thighs? Like thighs?
J is a what? J is a
All
Y.
right, cool. All right. Oh, well, I love being able to pronounce things. Okay, Thijs van der Tween. L plan. That's it. That's what they're looking forward to. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Fernando Alonso had a slow start, but very nice ending to his season last year, and showed that he still got it, really. So Esteban Ocon's, reasonably up to speed as well. So Alpine, I don't know. Do we know? I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like the actual lineup itself is pretty good. Like, I think Fernando Alonso in particular, if he is able to get that car up there, he can defend for his life. He's one of the best defensive drivers in Formula One. So if Alonso even gets a sniff of a podium or a win, he'll be all over it.
That's the dream. I'd love Alpine to be up there because it'd be great to see Alonso winning
versus
again.
Hamilton. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be so good for him to have that, because obviously he left the sport because he was just disillusioned with the fact that you turn up and if you're not in the Mercedes, you can't win. So he'll be hoping that this year, like as much as the fans are, that it's actually close, because all these teams hyping up next year, and this is the year that they get to catch on. Like Alpine are the ones that pushing this L plan thing. I really hope it happens, but I don't know. I can't see the order changing that much, but I really hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Renault and Alpine, obviously, they changed names for 2021, have been making steady progress. Obviously, Danny Rick got a few podiums when he was there. Esteban Ocon got that podium in Sakir. And then last year, we had the win and Alonso's podium in Qatar. So they're making steady progress up into getting into a better position. But I don't quite know when Alonso's saying L plan, like, what is L plan? Is it to win the championship? Because that's not going to happen. Is it to get more podiums? Is it to get more points? Is it to get to fourth? Is it to get to third? Like, it's all very well throwing L plan around, and I'm loving it, getting aboard the L plan hype train. I asked my brother, what are you most looking forward to in 2022? And he said L plan. So there's plenty of Fernando Alonso fans that are happy about this resurgence of his F1 career and all that kind of stuff. But I just want a bit of clarity, Alonso. Come on.
You have to be careful, Katie. You've already got a shout in London once. Don't be saying things like Fernando Alonso's not going to win the title unless you want to put your shouting where your mouth is.
I'll tell you now, if Alonso wins the title this year, I'll get a Fernando Alonso tattoo. There we go. That's how confident I am that he won't get it.
A permanent tattoo. Can we get clarification here?
I'll get L
not
plan
the Daniel Ricciardo.
L plan on your forehead. Permanent.
No, we're not doing that. I'll put it somewhere discreet, but I'll get L plan tattooed on me.
Forget Charles Leclerc. Forget Charles Leclerc. I'm on board the Fernando Alonso World
I
Champion
think everyone is
now. Yeah. You're going to regret that, maybe, Katie. I hope after the first 3 days of testing in Barcelona, Alpine are like a second clear of everyone else.
Yeah, imagine. Katie just sweating on the podcast. Like,
I literally, I'm a bit like, oh God,
what have I said?
Oh, I'm so here for that. Thank you for that, Katie. That's brilliant. So we look forward to Alpine being the world champions next year. Right. And finally, one more. Team WTF1 member, Sazzy BM. Most excited to see if other teams can put it up to Mercedes and Red Bull. Would love a 5-way fight for the championship. I think we pretty much covered that, really. We've already kind of mentioned that we want to see more than 2 teams fighting for the championship. Unless either of you have anything more exciting to say on that topic.
No, it really is just what we're all hoping for, isn't it? Closer and more people involved.
Well, that's not what I'm hoping for anymore. I'm hoping for L plan.
Also, I'm just thinking, both of my
Ferrari posters coming down, Alonso posters going up.
Next time, I'm going to have a Fernando Alonso cape up behind me soon.
All my predictions and things I promised to do if so and so happens have always been if Fernando Alonso underperforms. I just want to make it clear, I'm not a Fernando Alonso hater. I'm stupid and I make stupid promises.
You just doubt him too much when he's.
Well, no, but
he fueled
really?
by the doubt.
Yeah.
Do you really think that he could be world champion next year?
It's like
if he got the car, 100%, Alonso could win the title. But
Fernando Alonso is
Fred.
fueled by doubt, just like in the Christmas films where Santa is filmed by Christmas spirit. Like the more you doubt him, the more he will. I don't know why the reference to Christmas film, but here we are. It's because I watched a lot over Christmas. So Katie, look at, I can see the worry in your face, which is a beautiful way to end this WTF1 podcast, I think. Thank you everybody for watching and listening to this 2022 What We're Looking Forward to podcast. Tommy, final thoughts?
You were saying Merry Christmas now, can I?
Merry Christmas for 2022.
Please vote for us in that podcast thing.
Nice.
The website.
Yeah, link in the description. But all go one by one. So if you can all communicate and go one by one onto that website. And Casey, what's your final thoughts? Sorry, Fernando.
So yeah, again, oh God, I'm going to come across as such a Fernando hater, but hey ho.
It's
hopefully,
fine. You just don't think he's going to win the championship.
There's 19 other drivers that could technically win it.
19? Really? You think?
Maybe
every
18.
driver on the grid could win the Drivers' Championship. Okay, interesting. Right, that's it, Katie. You've done your final thoughts. That's beautiful. Hashtag WTF1 Podcast if you want to get involved in the discussion moving forward. Give us 5 stars, a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff wherever you are. We hope to improve on our Spotify rankings in 2022 because it was going up. Where were we highest, Tommy?
We were highest 5th, I think, in
UK sports podcast, was it? That's lovely.
Yeah.
And we'll have lots more podcasts coming to you over the course of 2022. So look forward to that. And we'll see you very soon. Bye. Bye, Frank.
Bye,
wow,
friends.
that was a pathetic way from you, Tommy.
Well, I was picking him up.
No.
I was picking him up.
No. He's a small... I should have said yawn if Fernando Alonso would be world champion.
Just leave this now.
Right. Frank, yawn if Katie is getting an L plan tattoo.
Same.
Yawn if Katie is getting an L plan tattoo.